Well, thank you, Mike, for the generous introduction. You know, I wear these Tibetan prayer beads all the time now. They were given to me by His Holiness the Dalai Lama when I visited him almost a year and a half ago in Dharamsala, India. And he gave them to me, he blessed them, and he told me that to help me cope with my fears and my anxiety and my worries, and they're not working. I think I need another set for this hand. I mean, we gather at a time when there's a lot of turmoil in the world and when there's a lot to be concerned about. And it requires us all to be engaged like never before. And it also requires us to not be so overwhelmed by all the news that is happening every day to somehow feel that we can't make a difference in areas of human rights and ways to try to make people's lives better. And I want to begin by thanking Coptic Solidarity for inviting me to join you this morning. And congratulations on successfully organizing your 13th conference. I understood you heard from Frank Wolf earlier today, my former colleague, and I mean, he's like super, right? I mean, dynamic. But my apologies to you. I was supposed to be here, join you yesterday, and I'm on the Rules Committee, and every bill that goes to the House floor goes to the Rules Committee, and so I had to be on the House floor yesterday, and then we had votes, so you had adjourned by the time we finished votes, so I apologize for that, but I'm grateful to be here with you today. I think this afternoon you're going to hear from Sonia Dalmans, the author of Coptic Solidarity's latest report on the disappearance and forced conversion of Coptic women and girls in Egypt. And as I read that report, I was struck by the image of Elham, a 16-year-old who was abducted on her way to school and held for 5 days in 2022. And despite the ordeal Elham and her family endured, 5 long days of uncertainty and fear, her abductor did not face any legal consequences, none. Tragically, Elham's story is not unique. The most recent State Department report on international religious freedom recorded at least 8 cases of alleged abduction and forced conversion of Coptic women and girls in Egypt. And while I'm relieved that Egyptian security services helped to return some of those women to their families, it is absolutely unacceptable that the government allows any abduction to go unpunished because of the victim's religion. Article 64 of the Egyptian Constitution says that, and I quote, "freedom of belief is absolute," end quote. Even so, religious minorities in Egypt face discrimination by law and by practice. For women and girls, this discrimination is often magnified. In Egypt, women are subjugated within their own communities. The law codifies the marital obligations of wives to their husbands and regulates their movement. Expectations of modesty and familial honor serve to further limit women's freedoms. This makes women more vulnerable to coercion and to physical violence. And those who seek to harm religious minority communities often do so by targeting women. Gendered religious discrimination is not confined to Egypt. In Pakistan, religious minorities live with the knowledge that at any time, they may be accused of blasphemy and face violence as a result. My friends in the Ahmadi community can sadly testify to this. So too can Nadia, a Christian Pakistani salon owner interviewed by Human Rights Watch. When Nadia opened her business, her previous employer threatened her, saying, "The consequences of this will not be good for you." Soon, a local cleric accused Nadia of blasphemy. He led a mob to Nadia's store where they destroyed her property and beat Nadia and her staff. This is part of a greater trend in Pakistan in which blasphemy allegations are used to maintain the economic dominance of the country's Sunni Muslim majority. But as Nadia assessed, her gender played a role in the attack too. And she said, "The fact that I was a single woman and a Christian meant that my accuser realized where I was most vulnerable." Look, these stories are important because they remind us of the human cost of gender discrimination and religious persecution. And by stepping into Elham's shoes or Nadia's, we feel a sliver of their pain, and we step a little closer to action. And one of the things I appreciate about the people who are gathered here today is I think you understand that just as important as the statistics and the numbers are, people aren't moved by that. They're moved by the human stories. And we need to keep on telling these stories over and over. And I'll just say this, that it's not enough to express concern. And it's not enough for politicians to show up at conferences like this and say, boy, isn't this terrible. The United States has a responsibility. We have a moral obligation, not just as a global leader, but as a nation that values human rights, to act when those rights are violated. That is why it is so heartbreaking to me that the Trump administration has undermined our ability to have policies that actually make things better for people. We need to be talking about human rights. Human rights needs to be a defining the centerpiece of our foreign policy. I've always believed that the United States of America stands for anything. We need to stand out loud and foursquare for human rights. They're not expendable. We can't turn a blind eye because it's somehow politically convenient. I mean, what makes us unique is supposed to be our commitment to human rights. In Egypt, for example, USAID was conducting a program to promote tolerance between Muslim and Christian women and girls. Exactly the kind of work that is sorely needed today. Today, USAID's offices sit empty. The administration has looted our toolbox. They've eliminated USAID and hollowed out the State Department's Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor. I don't understand why that makes any sense. And I don't say this to create division. If anything should be insulated from partisanship, it is the realm of human rights. But I say this because if we're going to get anything done, if we're really going to change things for women facing religious persecution in Egypt or Pakistan or Iraq or anywhere else, we need to work together, right, and to demand that our government stands up for the values that we all believe in. By cutting essential funding to U.S. initiatives designed to promote human rights. By doing that, we are letting down not only the victims of religious persecution, we are turning our back on our own values. You know, look, I've been in Washington for an awful long time. And the one thing I know, and I think you all instinctually know, is that talk is cheap. You know, you can say things to get applause or to get people to think you're on their side, and I get that. But what really matters is the follow-up, is to making sure that the funding is there so that we actually have the tools and the levers to make a difference, that the response to human rights violations is more than aren't they terrible, but that we follow up, sometimes with sanctions, sometimes with stern warnings and admonitions, but with something. And again, we can't let the focus and the centerpiece of our foreign policy, you know, divert from human rights. That's if we do that, you know, we lose a big part of what makes us unique and what makes us great. So I say to everybody here that, you know, your stories deserve to be heard. I hope that I can count on you to continue to share your stories with every single member of Congress and every member of this administration that you can find and that you can reach out to. You can count on me to keep amplifying them. I am still the co-chair of the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission, but also in my capacity of being on the Rules Committee, where every bill comes before my committee before it goes to the floor, I have an opportunity to be able to talk about some of these things, and they're, you know, when it's appropriate. And again, let me just close with this. You know, there's a lot of bad stuff happening. And while we can't change the past, we can all help shape and influence the future. And that's what the purpose of you being here is. And you can count me in as an ally, and I look forward to working with you in the weeks and the months and maybe even the years ahead. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you for welcoming me here today, and thank you for all you do. All the best.